Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a desperate mom.
Doctors have given her 1 year to live.
Her ex says it's a scam.
Donations came in to help her with her medical expenses. He got a camper, new vehicles, a paid nanny.
What nanny do we have?
Now,
You think he steals from the children to get money for drugs?
Not once.
who will raise the children?
He may be their dad, but I'm their father.
You're an alcoholic slob.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Thank you very much. Well, today it is husband John versus ex-husband Rick. What's at stake? Well, Adrian, the woman at the center of this dispute, says both men want custody of her 2 children who she had with her ex. So why would 2 men be fighting over her 2 children? Well, she says it's because doctors have given her 1 year to live. But her ex is accusing her of faking this cancer diagnosis and using cash donations for extravagant spending sprees. Adrian says these are just outrageous allegations and that her battle against cancer is nothing compared to her ongoing war with her ex, Rick.
Rick is a lying, lazy, deadbeat dad. Rick was a very poor provider. He jumped jobs. He would have 14 jobs in 1 year. I met John 9 months after I left Rick. So now, 8 years into our marriage, the kids see John as a father figure.
I'm lucky that you treat them like your own.
Rick has been very difficult to co-parent with. He very seldomly actually makes his child support payments. For the last few years, Rick has been addicted to painkillers and he's been going to treatment facilities. Things got really complicated 2.5 years ago when I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. For my kids, they have to then watch their mother go through a very difficult time and possibly watch her die. Right now, legally, the kids would go to Rick because he's the biological father. My final wish in life is that the kids would be able to stay with John, that he would be able to raise them, and that they would not be raised by Rick.
I'm not afraid of dying. I just want what's best for my kids.
Her husband John doesn't want to think about a future without Adrian, but says he is ready to step up for the sake of the children.
When I met Adrian, she had been separated from her husband for 10 months. I definitely feel like I've been the children's father figure throughout their lives. When the kids were a lot younger, Rick took kind of a friendship role. He never really wanted to take on the responsibility of children. It means a lot more to actually raise a child than to just have DNA in them. Rick's absolutely a narcissist. I question that he might even be a sociopath. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. He doesn't care who he steps on, who he hurts, even his own children. Rick has stolen a number of things from me and my family. He stole $200 out of the cupboard of our house. He stole my son's Beats headphones. He stole my daughter's iPod. I'm assuming that he was going to buy drugs with the money. He's addicted to pain medication. He recently went to treatment. This is his 2nd time in treatment. Rick needs to understand what's best for these kids are for them to stay with the family that has raised them and the father that has cared for them since they were children. I love those kids, you know, with all my heart and all my soul. Unfortunately, the laws do not allow a step-parent to gain custody of the children if they're not a legal guardian. I cannot become a legal guardian unless Rick would sign away his parental rights, which Rick has refused to sign away parental rights. There's no amount of money I wouldn't spend. There's nothing I wouldn't do to allow these kids to continue to live the rest of their lives with me. They mean the world to me.
Okay, I'm so glad to meet both of you. I wish we were talking about a different scenario here than we are. You have a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer.
Yes, sir.
And I understand that you've been advised that it has metastasized.
Yes.
And so it has spread to a number of other organs and locations in your body.
Yes, sir.
And you're continuing to fight. But the reality is that the mortality rate is very high.
Yes, sir.
And at this point, your attention has turned to what you would leave behind should worst come to worst.
Yes.
And your greatest concern are the children.
Oh, very much so.
And there are 5 involved here, but 2 that you had with your ex,
Yes.
Rick, and you are particularly concerned about what would happen with those children because they're now being raised by you and John.
Yes.
Because you don't have guardianship of them, you've not adopted them, you don't have legal guardianship, so the next in line would be the biological parent, right?
Yes, sir.
And you feel that he is not the best option. Tell me why.
He is a terrible role model for the kids. He doesn't keep jobs. He doesn't want to support himself. He doesn't want to even support them. He hasn't been a very big part of their lives since they were born.
We're talking about a boy and a girl, 14 and 13.
Yes, sir.
And how long has it been since he's been involved in their lives on a regular basis?
On a regular basis, well, he and I were divorced about 9.5, maybe 10 years ago. And since then, he's, he might see them every other weekend, or that's about it.
And you say he's not just absent, he's a bad influence.
Oh, absolutely.
Is he a drug addict?
Yes.
And what's he been addicted to?
Painkillers.
Has he had problems with this to the point of being in conflict with the law?
Yes.
In what way?
Because of his drug addiction, he's been unable to pay his child support and was incarcerated for that for a time. And we got phone calls actually from our kid's pediatrician that he had been continually calling them and requesting pain medication for them, saying they were hurt while they were at his house. In fact, it went as far as Rick called us and said, the kids need to see a different pediatrician because that doctor doesn't really take care of them the way he needs to. But really, he just wanted to change doctors because that doctor refused to give him scripts for pain medication.
Well, he tells a very different story, as you might understand. In fact, he says you two are essentially lying, that you're scamming, that you aren't as sick as you say you are, if at all, and that you're enriching yourself in ways that are just victimizing people, and that you're just a couple scam artists.
Dr. Phil, that's completely absurd. I mean, how can you exaggerate such things?
Well, we'll ask Rick that, because he's here. And he says that John has no business acting like he is Dad of the Year. We're going to meet the ex when we come back.
I do not like John. Basically brainwashed my kids against me. Adrian's lived a lot longer than 99% of the people who's had this cancer. I think something's going on, something fishy. I question her diagnosis to the fullest. I really do.
And later,
he always tells the kid how fat I am and
You're a slob. You're an alcoholic slob.
He hasn't stepped up as a man in 18 years.
I don't give a whether you like him or you don't.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. She's the girl with many identities.
Pageant Sadie, teacher Sadie, politician Sadie.
Who can't say no.
People come to me for help.
Want to know what I think?
Yes, I do.
No, you just don't like to say no.
Did she get this from Mom?
I'm not like her.
Sadie's planner, Mom's planner.
Or is it all her?
What if you're doing this because you're arrogant?
That's tomorrow.
If the kids went to live with Rick, I'd be extremely concerned, not only for their well-being, but for their safety and for his ability to provide for them. The only reason Rick really wants the children is he thinks he's going to get Social Security income from the kids for their mother passing away. I find that to be absurd.
Well, Adrian claims her fight against cancer is nothing compared to her ongoing war against her ex, Rick. She says being married to him was a nightmare, but now the thought of her leaving her kids in his care is just more than she can even fathom. But Rick says Adrian is no dream either and believes she and John are just out to get him.
The first few years that Adrian and I were together, it started out really good. Immediately after the relationship ended, she jumped into a relationship with John. I believe there's a lot of overlap. In my view, I believe John was the reason why she left. He's a homewrecker, and he enjoyed it. Adrian was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer about 3 years ago. She's lived a lot longer than 99% of the people who's had this cancer. I think something's going on, something fishy. I question her diagnosis to the fullest. I really do. She didn't even lose her hair. She shaved her head. I do not like John. I believe that John manipulates and controls Adrian. He makes the decisions, and Adrian just sits back and agrees with him. John is pulling her strings like a puppeteer. He bashes my name, says things about me that aren't true. John basically brainwashed my kids against me. John said that all I am is DNA to the kids, and that's a bunch of I made a mistake, and I'm trying to work through that. For the last 4 years, I've been addicted to those pain pills. But even doing that, I always put my kids first. I know recently I haven't been up to par with the child support. That's all due to my addiction. I'm going to try like hell to beat this addiction. I'm going to get a stable job and have a place of my own. That's my plan. They think the only reason that I want the kids is for the Social Security money that they would get. I didn't even think about that. That wasn't even in my head. If it comes down to John wanting to take this to court, I'll fight tooth and nail. I'm not just DNA. I'm their dad. I don't want my kids to be with a guy that I don't like.
Okay, Rick, I'm glad you're here. You say that you are genuinely concerned and care for your children.
Exactly, yes, 100%.
And should something happen to Adrian, you want to take care of them.
Correct.
Are you able to do so?
Right at this very minute, I can't answer yes and be truthful about it. I don't know. I want to raise my kids. Right now, like just coming out of rehab, I don't have a job.
At this point, you wouldn't be ready today, but it's not today.
Well, you know what? Now thinking about it, talking financial, emotionally, things of that nature, I'm in the same boat as they are. Neither of them work. They're living off money that people donated to them for her medical expenses.
And you say you haven't seen the children since July?
Probably around July, yeah.
Okay, why is that?
I don't know. I guess I'd have to ask them to. They don't have a phone, and the only way I can contact them is through their cell phones.
But we don't have a phone?
No, the kids don't have a phone.
I
Yeah,
think you're
but
pretty
you
well
can
aware why the
call
kids don't
us.
come over. I mean, it's not like really a mystery. I mean, they've confronted you. They've spoke to you.
Oh, yeah, they confronted me about the headphones that went up missing, but I wasn't the one that was sitting there at the table at the pool when the headphones came out missing.
Because you think he steals from the children.
Oh, absolutely.
And you think he stole it from the children to get items that he can sell or pawn to get money for drugs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I never stole from anybody.
You didn't steal from your children.
Not at all.
And you want to talk about me not having a job. I have a terminal illness.
No. I'm not talking about you. But how can you justify using money that people gave you to pay for a nanny when he's sitting on his fat ass at home?
What nanny do we have? What's her name?
Seriously?
What's her name?
My daughter told me and my parents that they have a paid nanny. This is shortly after all this money came in from donations to help her with her medical expenses. They got a camp, they got a camper, they got quads, new vehicles. They buy lavish gifts, so...
I've always worked to support your kids because you refuse to.
They live with you.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to what they say is a list of items that you've stolen from this family and converted in drugs. I'm going to give them an opportunity to respond to your allegation that this is a scam and they are converting donation money for her medical expenses to luxury items. Rick says that he'd never steal from his children, but 4 adults, including his own mother, says he has stolen from every member of the family. I'm going to give him a chance to respond to that and set the record straight. We'll be right back.
You just want to assume things.
So your comments are reckless and absolutely unfounded, and you need to stop making them. And later,
I'm an addict. I do have a problem. Let's put your alcoholism aside. Is that what we're doing right now?
I don't go home. I don't come home, and this is why.
He's the one that puts you in the middle.
There's been a lot of things said from Adrian and John that I've stolen from my kids, specifically headphones, which I absolutely did not take. They knew about the problem that I had, and they just figured, well, you know, he's going to sell them or trade them and go get pills. That's not the case. I didn't see the headphones other than when he first came in the house, and then that was it. I believe that John and Adrian convinced my son that I took the headphones, which is totally not true. There's no way that I took anything from my kids.
Well, Adrian and her husband John say Rick has sunk so low that he has stolen from his own children. But Rick wants Adrian and John to admit they have played fast and loose with the finances themselves when taking advantage of the generosity of strangers.
With this cancer diagnosis, they put a whole big spiel out on Facebook with the picture of Adrian, John, and the kids. They've gotten thousands of dollars through donations. They're spending the money frivolously. They have a camper, they bought a brand new van, a brand new car. They also have rental properties. They have a nanny, and neither of them work. I want to know where this money's going. I think it's a scam with this cancer diagnosis. There was one point the cancer just disappeared, was gone. I just don't understand. I really don't. Is it going to her medical expenses, or is it going to live a lavish life? I don't know.
Well, so there are allegations on both sides. Now, according to John and Adrian, they say that you are a thief and that you have stolen, you've said, your son's Beats headphones, your daughter's iPod, the children's birthday and Christmas money, that you sell the kids $1 fundraising candy for $2, that there's been a fake fundraiser, $200 from the cupboard, that you've stolen your parents' TV, DVD player, and lawnmower, $200 from your ex's card, neighbor's iPhone, gift card from job. According to Katie, your daughter, her brother's Beats headphones, Katie's headphones, Katie's professional camera, and painkillers from your grandmother and aunt, over $400 and yard sale items from your aunt, your grandparents' lawnmower, $2,000 of graduation money, and according to your mother, that you've stolen money and items from every family member, your mother's jewelry and other home items. These are allegations from your oldest daughter, from these two, and your own mother. Is everybody lying?
Yeah, I never stole lawnmower, headphones, money, jewelry, TV, DVD player.
You say this is just a scam because if she had what disease she supposedly has, she would be gone by now.
According to the research that I've done, it shows people don't live past 2 years.
It's a miracle.
I don't believe in miracles myself.
I know, I do.
You said you've done research. Well, I did very specific research. And so I did request and independently got your medical records. And on May 13th, and I've just pulled out some of these, it said that she had a mildly metastatic, and the mildly refers to the metastasis. And it said that she had a mildly metastatic, poorly differentiated pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor. Okay? She understood that this tumor was incurable.
Do medical records lie?
No, what I meant was, according to my research, what I understood, that people don't live past 2 years.
Okay, February 14, so we've now gone almost a year later. PET scan identified progression of disease. October 15, metastatic pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor to liver and ovaries. That's the metastasis. This has spread. I assume you will begin another course of chemo now, would be in order, I would assume, very soon.
I actually go for scans tomorrow, and then we're going to go from there as far as...
chemotherapy treatment. Yeah. And that was just to extend Adrian's life as long as we possibly can.
Yeah. So your comments are reckless and absolutely unfounded and insensitive, and you need to stop making them. You just don't make those comments. You need to stop making the comments that she is scamming people, that she is blowing this up out of proportion.
You never asked for my medical records. I would have shown them to you, too.
I wouldn't have asked you to see them.
Well, you just want to assume things.
Coming up, we will hear from one of the children caught in the middle of this family drama. She may be more adult than anybody on stage. We'll be right back.
I have been in the middle since my dad and my mom got divorced. I'm honestly mad at everyone. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only adult in the situation.
Rick has actually spread the rumor to our community that I'm faking the diagnosis. There were people in the community that had set up fundraisers for us to help cover the cost of the expenses. We spend the money on the treatments, my co-pays. We have not spent this money on a lavish lifestyle. I am not faking my diagnosis at all. This is 100% real. I have the scars to prove it. To our knowledge, I'm the longest living person with this diagnosis. Miracles do happen.
Adrian has been diagnosed with an incurable cancer and wants her 2 children that she had with her ex, Rick, to remain with her new husband, John. Rick is adamant that he is the father and deserves the children if and when the inevitable happens with Adrian. Katie, his daughter from a previous relationship, calls Adrian mom. Katie says there is no winner in this war and wants it to stop for the sake of the children.
This situation has torn my family apart, and it does hurt me very much. I have been in the middle since my dad and my mom got divorced. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only adult in the situation. I'm honestly mad at everyone. I'm mad at my dad for doing drugs. And I'm also mad at my mom and John. They told my brother and sister that my dad was on drugs and that he was in rehab. And that's not something you say to a 13 and 14-year-old. They're being dragged into adult issues, and that's not fair to them. The truth is that my dad does love the kids. He made some very bad decisions recently, but he's trying to make up for it now. I do believe that he could be a really good dad to me and to the kids. I see the good in him. Everybody else focuses on only the bad. My dad should have custody of the kids if and only if he is completely clean for at least a year. And if he is not clean, then they are to go to John.
Katie, thank you for being here. I'm sorry that you're embroiled in all of this. And what would you like to add?
I'm very angry. I'm very angry at all of you.
You need to own up to everything that you've done and not blame other people for the things that everybody knows that you've done.
And I think that you guys need to not tell the kids what's going on with him.
We really try not to
Katie,
put them in the
your
middle.
grandmother tagged you in a post on Facebook. We didn't have to tell them.
About
she
him
tagged
being
you
in
right
rehab.
on Facebook for everyone to see. They saw it and came to us and said, why is my dad in rehab? Why didn't you tell us? We don't badmouth your dad. We really don't.
They come to us about
They come
things,
to us. They're
and
old
then
enough
we
to
give
understand.
them what's going on.
I'm the one, Katie, you don't understand. When the weekend
He was telling the kids to go over to your dad's house over the summer. They didn't want to because of what was going on with the headphones and everything.
He didn't raise you. He wasn't a father to you. Why all of a sudden is he going to step up and be a father to the other 2 children that only see him 4 days a month? He hasn't stepped up as a man in 18 years. He may be your dad, but I'm their father.
Yeah,
I've raised them since they were 4 and 5 years old. I tried to teach them the difference between right and wrong. I financially supported them, and I've given them unconditional love, no matter what, when they're good and bad.
And I respect you for what you've done to him, John. But you know what?
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. But yeah, I do. I'm an addict. I do have a problem, okay? But let's not forget about you, okay? Let's put your alcoholism aside. Is that what we're doing right now? Huh? Because you're an alcoholic, John?
No.
You're not? Okay.
Neither of you are right, and both of you are wrong. Until you guys accept what you've done wrong, you're not going to move past this. We're not going to have a great family together. We're not going to have a good bond together.
This is it. He always tells the kid how fat I am and stupid.
You're a slob. You're an alcoholic slob. I'm a skinny drug addict, so there's no difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've worked my whole life for it.
Katie, I
I've never...
every day. Every day until I left for college. I don't go home. I don't come home, and this is why.
He's the one that puts you in the middle.
I'm not saying that he doesn't.
We asked Adrian 4 questions before she came to the show. I found her answers really, really interesting. And I'm going to show you what she said verbatim when we come back.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. She's a teacher, beauty queen, politician.
People come to me for help.
Who can't say no.
What if you're doing this because you're arrogant?
That's tomorrow.
Adrienne is battling cancer, but says her biggest fight right now is making sure that the 2 children that she had with her ex-husband, Rick, remain in the safe, loving home that she has created with her current husband, John. When we have guests on the show, and you guys all know, and I have to say all 4 of you have been very forthcoming. Rick, you were very forthcoming. And you did state that you were grateful and acknowledged what John had done for your children. You may not say it to him, but you did say to us that you acknowledged that he had been there when you could not be. But we ask a lot of questions and do a lot of research and get medical records and talk to collaterals, and we generate about a 250-page notebook on every show. And I read every word of every notebook for every show personally. One of the things that I ask of Adrienne is, why do you want to be involved in the show? And you said, quote, I worry about my kids and want to make sure I'm doing everything I can for them. I want to try to help their dad change so he can have a relationship with them and be a better role model. What do you hope to gain or accomplish? I want my kids to have a better relationship with their dad and his family. What is your question for Dr. Phil? Am I doing all that I can be doing for my kids? What is your greatest fear? I'm worried that my ex-husband will manipulate the situation on the show and we will come out looking like we're terrible people. You know, when I look at this, I see that someone that is staring death in the eye really seems to be the person that has the children's interest uppermost in her mind. I worry about my kids. I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can for them. I want to try to help their dad change so that he can have a relationship with them. I want my kids to have a better relationship with their dad and his family. Again, am I doing all that I can for my kids?
Yeah.
And that's really why you're here, right?
Exactly. You know, I just want to make sure no matter who has the kids, if I'm not here, that they're in the best place possible, that they are getting morals and values and learning right from wrong and just being molded into productive members of society.
Those are really, really good goals. I mean, I applaud those goals. And I'm glad y'all came here for that help, because I can't tell you how seriously I take that. I take it seriously for the 2 of you. I take it seriously for you. I take it seriously for you. When somebody comes to me and says, I may leave this earth soon, I need help in preparing a path before I do. Trust me, that's not a TV show question to me. That's a question of trust, and I take that trust real seriously. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to tell these folks exactly what they need to do to give those children what they deserve. There's a role for everyone here. We'll be right back.
Do you need Dr. Phil's help? Text Phil to 88500 and share your story for a chance to appear on the show. Standard message and data rates may apply.
If you are going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Or you can call 323-461-PHIL. Could I get you two to change places with you two? You two have a job to do here. I want you to think about those children being in the wagon at the bottom of a hill. And you've got to get them to the top of the hill. And you can't get them up there by yourself, and you can't get them up there by yourself. But together, you can get that wagon to the top of the hill. Meet your new best friend. And you said something at the last sentence of your tape piece that stuck in my head. And here's what it was.
I don't want my kids to be with a guy that I don't like.
I don't give a whether you like him or you don't. What you should be saying is, I want my children to be where they will be safe, nurtured, protected, and advanced in their life. And she's not going to be here if worst comes to worst. At least give her the dignity of knowing you will stand in her shoes and protect her children. You have been living the life of a drug addict and doing the things that drug addicts do, which is lie, cheat, steal, betray, and be a non-productive member of society. That needs to end, because that's not being a father.
I agree.
And she is fighting an incurable cancer, so you decide, I'll just gain 150 pounds? Are you kidding me?
No, you're right.
I just wrote a book called 20/20 Diet. You just became the poster boy. I'm all over your ample ass, okay? We're going to get you in shape for her, for your children, and for you.
Thank you.
Okay? I'm going to send you to the Origins Recovery Center. Now, they provide integrated inpatient treatment for substance abuse and co-occurring disorders. You will receive expert medical, clinical, and spiritual care designed specifically for your needs. And whatever we have to do to get this done, you guys need to do what you have to do. All right, coming up, a husband who says his wife is cramping his style. She says she always announces his medical condition and needs to stop. Is she concerned, or is she just shaming him? We're going to find out when we come back. Ready to get real? Go to drphil.com for advice on relationships, parenting, finances, and more. Plus, weigh in on your favorite episodes, share your stories, and find support in the Dr. Phil community. When you sign up for the community, you will automatically be subscribed to the Dr. Phil Show newsletter. Log on to drphil.com today. Smoking, drinking, and eating delicious food that's rich and fattening. Now, my next guest is battling not only those temptations, but social pressures linked to a serious disease. And now his wife may be on the same path. Take a look.
My husband, Corey, started having leg pain. Something wasn't right.
I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes almost 2 years ago. It is 229. It's high, but it's not like through the roof. I was nervous and scared because a lot of people die from being a diabetic. April is very supportive, but annoys me. I tell her I'm taking my medications, but she's still concerned.
Did you test your blood today? My concern is that Corey continues to smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol.
When I make my drink, my wife is adding more juice to my vodka when I'm not looking.
When Corey turns his head, I add cranberry juice or orange juice to his drinks. I add more juice so he wouldn't have so much alcohol. Corey's struggling with eating properly, and I play a big part of that because I do majority of the cooking. My doctor just recently told me that I'm pre-diabetic. It's very stressful having to monitor our daily food intake.
What are you making?
Some fish and vegetables and some mashed potatoes. Put some more fat into your diet.
Sometimes I feel like my life is not normal. When we go out to our family functions, she will mention to everyone that I'm a diabetic. I do feel left out at times, not being able to eat certain things. It was my fault that I have diabetes because of the amount of sugar that I consumed over time. I was told that if I eat healthier, that I would not have diabetes. This is annoying and irritating to have to watch what I eat. I try to change my eating habits, but it's hard.
Well, Corey and April are joining us along with our really good friend, a favorite of mine, Dr. Freda Lewis Hall, Chief Medical Officer of Pfizer. So welcome. We're talking about type 2 diabetes today and the social stigmas that go along with it. And there are often misconceptions when people don't really understand this disease. So tell us about type 2 diabetes.
It is when the body's blood sugar increases above normal. Now, Corey is one of 29 million people in the U.S. that have diabetes. And April is one of 86 million people in the United States that have prediabetes. These are not small numbers. One of the things that happens is people were like, well, all these tens of millions of people with these diseases, how serious can diabetes really be? So they don't think of it as a serious condition. But diabetes kills more people than breast cancer and HIV/AIDS combined. People with diabetes have twice the risk of having a heart attack and 10 times the risk of losing a lower limb to amputation. In addition to that, it is a leading cause of blindness, kidney failure, to other really serious illnesses like stroke even. So this is a very serious disease. As if that isn't enough for people with diabetes to deal with, a recent study tells us that 50% of people with type 2 diabetes think that their disease has a social stigma attached to it. Half.
And April, are you embarrassing Corey at social events?
I guess I am, because, I love my husband. I want him to be around. And a lot of our friends and family, they don't know that Corey has reached his limit. So I just want to make sure that he's safe.
Okay, so what bothers you most about having diabetes, Corey?
Well, just not feeling normal. Might be embarrassed a little bit. Just I can't be myself. I feel like even though I lost all the weight, I still blame myself for being a diabetic.
So what are some of the misconceptions? I mean, let's just clear some of the myths up.
If you're obese or if you're overweight and you have diabetes, it's your fault. That is a big misconception. The other one I mentioned earlier is a lot of people don't understand the seriousness of this. You become embarrassed, feel that it's your own fault, you may become depressed or angry. That may lead to hiding it from people, not wanting to talk about it, withdrawing from social events.
The only way people are going to not react that way is to educate themselves. This hits close to home because I can tell you I am a type 2 diabetic, and I have been my entire adult life. It's such a lifestyle with me, I don't even think about it anymore. I don't wake up every morning and say, okay, I'm a diabetic, I got to do this. It's just some of my lifestyle. And so I roll with it. It is just not something you should be ashamed about. I'm not ashamed about it. I'm a type 2 diabetic. There you go. I don't care. I mean, this is what it is. You just live with it.
Some things you can't control, and you said it. There are risk factors for diabetes, your family history. You mentioned that. In addition to that, your age is a risk factor. Your ethnicity is a risk factor. But there are a whole host of things that you can control. Your smoking, what you eat every day, when you eat every day, your level of physical activity.
Your concerns about being a pre-diabetic, you got to do the same things now that you would have to do then, right?
Correct. Well, yeah, I'm just more concerned because I lost weight over 2 years ago. And I'm like, I'm going back down the same path with the bad habits. And my concern is becoming a diabetic.
I heard you slip in those sugary cocktails you're making, right, April? You sneaking a little bit of extra in. That may be an example of really good intentions, but may doing harm instead. So if you think about it, fruit juice has a lot of sugar in it. Adding those things may actually be adding calories and sugar to the diet. And so it's particularly important to put that whole life plan together, to take a step back, to sit down with someone who can help you look at your nutrition, balance some of the things that you really like, put them into your lifestyle so that you can continue to have them. It doesn't mean you have to give up everything. Prediabetes is a condition where your blood sugar is higher than normal, but not high enough to be diagnosed with diabetes. And it does not mean that you're absolutely going to get diabetes. You should get checked every year or so. Make sure that you stay close with your healthcare team, have it checked. A full third of the people who have diabetes, a third, do not know it. Some people who are sitting and watching the show right this minute have diabetes or pre-diabetes and do not know it. I would love for people to go to gethealthystayhealthy.com. Take a look at what the signs and symptoms are of diabetes so that you can educate yourself about that. Go to your healthcare provider and see if you are one of those people that can begin to make some changes to get healthy, just like the two of you are.
Look, we want to hear from you, so go to drphil.com and send us your questions, because she answers all kinds of things. I want to thank all of my guests today, especially Dr. Freda Lewis Hall. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Thanks,